We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
On August 6th, 1945, the entire city of Hiroshima was destroyed by a single bomb. 140,000 people were killed in that blinding flash. But for one 29-year-old engineer, the story was just beginning. Yamaguchi somehow survived the blast, crawled from the rubble, and spent a night in hell before getting on a train and going home. 3 days later, he was in his home city of Nagasaki, just in time for the second atomic bomb to fall. This is the terrifying, impossible true story of the only man officially recognized as a double survivor and his final haunting destiny. The Hiroshima nightmare Tsutomu Yamaguchi was a marine engineer from Nagasaki. On that morning, August 6th, he was finishing a 3-month work trip in Hiroshima and was already heading to the train station to go home. But he was late. He had forgotten his personal travel seal and had to double back to the shipyard office. A 1-minute delay that saved his life. He was about 3 kilometers, or $1.8 miles, from ground zero when the B-29 Enola Gay dropped the uranium bomb. Little boy. He recalls a white flash, like a gigantic magnesium flare, followed by an ear-shattering concussion that ruptured his eardrums and temporarily blinded him. His protective reflexes saved him, but his upper body was left with severe weeping burns. The world he crawled into was a field of silent devastation. He spent a fitful night among the injured, his wounds untreated, before finding 2 colleagues who had also miraculously survived. They had one thought: get home to Nagasaki. The second blast. The next day, Yamaguchi made the agonizing 180-mile trip home to Nagasaki. He was a hibakusha, an explosion-affected person. But at the time, no one knew what that meant or how sick he really was. On the morning of August 9th, bandaged and feverish, he forced himself to report to his supervisor. He was trying to explain the horrors of Hiroshima, describing a weapon that could wipe out a city. His supervisor replied, "You're crazy. How can one bomb destroy an entire city?" At that exact instant, 11:02 a.m., the conference room was filled with a familiar white light. The second atomic bomb, a plutonium core codenamed Fat Man, had exploded over Nagasaki. The same man, in 2 different cities, 3 days apart, was hit by the only 2 nuclear bombs ever used in warfare. He was thrown to the ground again, but the strong stairwell and the city's hilly terrain shielded him. He had survived the impossible twice. But the story was far from over. The real battle was just beginning. His wife and infant son all survived the second blast, though his wife was heavily exposed to the black rain. In the weeks that followed, Tsutomu suffered every classic symptom of acute radiation poisoning: continuous vomiting, hair loss, and high fever. For decades, Yamaguchi rarely spoke of his double ordeal. He lived a long life, defying the doctors who said he wouldn't make it to 20. He returned to engineering, lived a normal life. But the cancer, a cruel, delayed time bomb, still impacted his family. His son died of cancer at age 59, and his wife died of liver and kidney cancer at 88. In his final years, he found his voice. He realized his survival wasn't just luck, it was a destiny. In 2009, at age 93, he became the only person officially recognized by the Japanese government as a Niju hibakusha, a doubly bombed person. Yamaguchi spoke at the United Nations, pleading for nuclear disarmament. Just weeks before his death, he met with director James Cameron, hoping his story would become a film, an uncompromising warning to the world. He passed away in January 2010 at 93 from stomach cancer. Before he died, Tsutomu Yamaguchi delivered his final message. He said, "I can't understand why the world cannot understand the agony of the nuclear bombs. How can they keep developing these weapons?" He called his double survival a government record that can tell the younger generation the horrifying history of the atomic bombings even after I die. Yamaguchi's life was not a miracle. It was a mandate. His story ensures that the horror of August 1945 will never be forgotten. If you were shocked by this impossible true story, hit the like button and subscribe for more hidden history. And let me know in the comments, do you think he was the luckiest or the unluckiest man in history?